So welcome back. Each Monday I do a new video about my experiences about RC airplanes or other RC stuff, and today I'm going to look at something I actually bought more than 6 months ago, and it's the XK A430 from WLToys. This is a rather cheap RC airplane, and I've actually flown this one on many occasions, so it does have a few repairs. It does also come with this, I don't know if I would say this is a nice remote, but it does feel quite solid. The sticks are not that great actually, but there's a display which shows stick input, and I'm really sure these two buttons on top, they do actually beep. I don't know if they do anything, but you can press the right stick to switch between the stabilized mode and not stabilized mode. So that's the remote. I usually fly this one with my Jumper T16 Pro, but it certainly does work with the stock remote as well. So this one then, it's a 4-channel RC airplane. It's an aerobatic style, Edge 540 style, and I've had 2 major crashes with this one. The first one was because I actually lost power, and I was quite high up, maybe 50 meters up, and it just crashed. So when it crashed, I actually broke the nose off. So I have glued this one together with hot glue, and if you look inside, what I've done is I reinforced this one with the carbon rods. So there are 2 carbon fiber rods going in from the front to the rear, maybe this far into the body. So there's one on each side. And on the first crash, actually the motor came loose. So I used hot glue to glue in the motor, and I actually put a cross rod, carbon fiber rod, to hold it together. So that was my first major crash with this one. And I made numerous flights when everything works fine, but I didn't listen to when the power started to drop, so I crashed it. Although the prop has really hold up, so it does work still. And this one also comes with a spare prop, which is always nice. On the second crash I actually had, it wasn't really my fault, because somehow the airplane just lost control with my Jumper T16 Pro. I don't know why. And it just flew away and ended up in a tree. And I have to retrieve it, and it was like 7 or 8 meters up. So I actually bought this electrical tubes, plastic tubes, which comes in 3-meter lengths. So I could extend them, and it took maybe half an hour to get it down, but then again I retrieved it. And when I crashed and when I tried to retrieve it, I actually broke the tail. So I've used hot glue to glue the tail back, and as I don't know, when you do crash these things, the nose is something that usually breaks, the prop can get bent and the motor can come loose, and the tail section. So I also put a carbon fiber rod going from the rear, maybe this far into the fuselage. So hopefully these 2 repairs will make this one fly better. Now I cannot tell this is a great fly, although I really enjoy flying this one. I don't know why. Maybe it's because the motor sound is really silent and low pitched, so it doesn't make much noise. It also have quite a nice speedy flight characteristics to it, but then again it's also very squirrely. So sometimes when you make a stick input, it just do a little bit odd things, and it does stall pretty easy if you don't have enough airspeed and do crazy maneuvers. But somehow I actually like it, maybe because it's quite inexpensive, it's small, and these repairs I've made, I suppose they will make it even more durable. So it's just a fun plane to actually maybe to fight a bit, because it's not flying too great. But anyway, I really enjoy it. I really haven't tried it with the stock remote, which maybe I will. Maybe I won't experience some sort of range issues, or maybe it was just some glitch with the airplane. I don't know. It's always bad when things start to fly away from you. But then again, this is so small, and I could have ended up worse, because when it did fly away, actually the power just dropped, and eventually it ended up in a tree, so it wasn't too bad. Now I don't like really to fly too much 3D, which this plane actually is made to fly in 3D. I mostly just like to cruise around and make wide, nice turns. So I'll show you a flight I made actually after I broke the nose. So let's just watch that one. So here I am at a local park with my A430 and my jumper T16 Pro. It's quite a nice fall day, a bit chilly, and I have this really short runway. And let's see if I can get this one in the air. Oh, yeah, doesn't take much to get it flying. And this place is actually really nice to fly at when you have an RC airplane this size, because it's about 70 meters wide, 70 meters long, so I have quite a bit of space, and I can actually fly above the trees as well, because they are not that high really. And I try to keep this one on above the tree line so we can see it. Today I'm just cruising around with this small A430. And also have my jumpers T16 Pro set for a 30% expo, and I think this one really needs expo, because when you make too much input from the sticks, it does actually become quite squirrely right away. So if you make tight turns, it will just stall and make some odd movements. So just try to keep up speed and make a bit wider turns, and then it flies good. And it always surprises me a bit, because when you have these really small and tiny RC airplanes, when you get them in the air, they does not appear as small as they really are. So as long as I have a contrasty background, like now when I have the clouds, it's no problem telling orientation. Of course it will be really difficult if you get below the tree line, where it kind of blends in with the nature. So as soon as I have a low speed and I make a kind of turn, it does drop, so the stall speed is not too great. I think the glide is nice, but you need some speed to make it fly good. And if you try to make aerobatics with this one, it's actually totally snappy, and I mean, even when you do aerobatics, I think you need to have some sort of expo and reduced throw on the servos, because to me at least, it's too snappy. I've often lose orientation when I do these snap rolls with this one. And loops are also really, really snappy. But this is my style. Cruise around. To make tight turns is not a problem. As long as you keep the speed up, you won't really experience any bad flying. Just when you have too low speed and you make a tight turn, then you can actually have it just stall and dropping like here. I like to test all my RC airplanes just to when the stall point is. So when I'm in a tight spot, or when I need to land, or when I have obstacles, I know that I can actually maneuver the plane. There's a lower pass. Another quite low pass. So as you can see, when you have a nice speed, it does fly good. And as the speed is really nice, if you go full throttle, it will certainly go quite fast, and it will climb easy. That's what I like about an RC airplane, that it's just easy to fly. I don't have to fight the plane. There is a bit of fight with this one, of course, because it's quite squirrely especially when you have lower speed, when you make too much stick input. But other than that, I think it's just the motor sound on this one is so almost not silent, but it's really nice sounding, much better than the UMX from E-flite, which are quite, they scream a lot, but this one is just surprisingly quiet, even when you pick up speed and go fast. One thing compared, if you compare this one with the A160, the J3 Skylark from WLToys, is that I experienced a bad flying experience with it. It just stalled and spiraled down. And but this one, even if you stall, it doesn't spiral down, and you can quite easily save it. So I think there's a huge difference because between this one, the A430, and the A160. This one actually flies good. It's quite predictable. And you can actually save it even if you have a bad stall. So the battery's about to drain, and this time I will land it before it drops out of the sky. Just put it down nicely on the grass. Now that's the style I like to fly, like an RC plane like the A430. Just cruise around, have a good time, don't have to worry too much, and I think that's actually the strength of this one, because I've showed the repairs I've done to this, and I'm not afraid if I will, if I would crash it. I'm not even afraid if it will fly away again. So I've spent a lot of nice flying hours with this. And I mean, that's what it's all about, having a good time with your toys. So to me, would I recommend it? If you like to fly like me, just cruise around and have a good flying experience. Yes, it's not the greatest flyer of all. No, it's not. I think, compared to like the UMX Turbo Timber, which is my favorite UMX RC airplane, I think the Timber does feature so much more, does fly much better actually. But this one is just inexpensive, it's fun to fly, so I will keep it.